Outwardly, there's nothing to distinguish this house from many others. But deep in the cavernous basements of this house, in a chamber hewn from the living rock of the mountain, is the strange, dimly lighted, mysteriously secret Bat's Cave, hidden headquarters of America's #1 crime fighter, Batman. Yes,
Batman. Chances are that if you are watching this video, you have heard of the masked vigilante, and your parents and grandparents likely have too. Batman started off in 1939, with a debut in Detective Comics number 27. Now, the question is, how has he stayed relevant for 81 years? For comparison, let's look at Iron Man. Iron Man first appeared in 1963's Tales of Suspense, number 39, but he seemed to only be known by more die-hard fans until 2008 and the global takeoff of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But Batman has stayed a household name throughout countless instances of conflict and controversy. It is this controversy, and more specifically Batman's identity crisis, that keeps Batman relevant.
It's different as well. I mean, I have no interest whatsoever in playing someone who's heroic. The only time I want to play someone who an audience knows that they're supposed to like is when they really shouldn't like them.
That is Robert Pattinson, the next-in-line actor to portray Batman on the big screen, in a 2019 interview for Variety's Actors on Actors.
There's a very few of sort of a character who's regarded by everyone as a heroic character. Most of them come, you know, they know that they need to save the day and they're saving the world, and they know who they know they're good. And I always found it interesting with Batman that he's always struggling a little bit, especially, well, in some iterations of the story anyway, but he doesn't know if he's that great or not.
Batman is in a constant state of identity crisis, whether it is jumping between adaptations or coming to the realization that Bruce Wayne is the mask. Sometimes it can even be both. Take a look at Christopher Nolan's famous trilogy. In The Dark Knight Rises, the only person at the masquerade with no mask is Bruce Wayne, Batman's secret identity.
Who are you pretending to be?
Bruce Wayne, eccentric billionaire.
Not only is this intentional, but it is a clever nod to the idea that Batman views Bruce Wayne as the mask. Batman is not the only person that questions his standing as good or evil. He has been a frequent public enemy, both in the real world and in fiction, and this is where the controversy comes in. While it seems counterintuitive that a hero would be seen as actively antagonistic by a large portion of the consumers of his media, Batman has received some flack for his ideals or supposed ideals on part of the American people. With controversy as early as 1954, Batman and his creators were subject to an examination at a Senate subcommittee meeting regarding the accused encouraging of homosexuality among young boys, which directly encouraged the creation of beloved characters like Batwoman and Batgirl to detract from any suspicion of homosexuality. Looking back also pinpoints aspects thought heroic of Batman that are now frowned upon, such as his place in anti-Japanese propaganda in the first Batman film of 1943. While it is an objectively wrong course of action for a hero and role model to take, an analysis across many characters, not just superheroes like Captain America, reveal that it was the damaged writings of a reeling America trying to unite following Pearl Harbor. While this antagonism and perpetuating of stereotypes does not particularly fit in our current world, it brought both positive and negative attention to the character from viewers of many walks of life. To compare to Batman's world, one must understand how Batman is labeled. Batman has been noted as both a superhero and a vigilante. The latter is what causes problems throughout DC Comics, as a vigilante is defined as a person who works outside of the law for their own brand of justice, which, in Batman's case, is his obsession with a natural law that is heavily indicative of Western motifs. My favorite instance of Batman being a vigilante figure of controversy is through the 1990s Batman the Animated Series. Let's look at the episode Trial. In this episode, the district attorney Janet Van Dorn has become distraught with Batman and his hand in justice seemingly making criminals that are difficult to prosecute. However, when she is on a dinner date with Bruce Wayne, she goes missing, kidnapped by Batman's villains who have taken over Arkham Asylum. In a twist of events, DA Van Dorn is assigned the task to defend Batman against her very own allegations that his brand of justice is ineffective and creates the villains in crime he seeks to end.
You hear me, Batman? This is the last time!
Not only is this episode great in openly confronting the controversy that surrounds the morals of Batman, but the way that the DA convinces a corrupt jury and judge of Batman's innocence of the charges is graced with humorous commentary from the slapstick range of villains themselves.
Batman forced me to do it. He was going to take her away from me. I had no choice.
You could have respected her wishes and left her alone.
I'd have killed her first. I'd like that last statement stricken from the record, please. Record? Is someone supposed to be writing this down?
And while it does not sate Batman's identity crisis, it brings positive attention to the character from this controversy. The identity crisis lends hand to relatability. As one of the mainstream superheroes without actual superpowers, Batman is grounded in a way that cannot be said for Spider-Man or Captain America. Not only that, but his anger, depression, disparity, and hope all create this imperfect character that a diverse set of readers can look up to and connect with. One of the lesser mentioned issues with superheroes, especially those that can fly, is that there's a disconnect once the hero leaves the ground. Because Batman is grounded both physically and metaphorically, the audience feels every punch, every failure. The power in being able to control the environment that a character resides in presents the unique opportunity for readers to also connect to Gotham City, Batman's home. Whether it is the Gothic, German, and dark architecture or its inhabitants alone that sets the mood and sets it apart, Gotham City and its representation has the capability to make or break a portrayal of Batman. Seeing Gotham City as corrupt, dirty, and almost worthless, while maintaining the notion that it is fragile and deserving of protection, reflects the real world and the conflicts that can reside in individuals or societies. Batman and Gotham represent the fight that is internally fought in each and every person who has a shred of doubt in their goodness. Often, with a society that is so built up by the technology that forces the reflection and adjustment of self, we see ourselves as the unworthy. Best summarized in Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight, where Batman is the hero Gotham deserves, even if he is not always the hero that is needed. Tying back to Trial, the most important part of the resolution is Van Dorn's concession that she sees the need for Batman, even if she wants to work toward a world without him, a goal that Batman also holds.
I see now there's a need for the things you do. But I'm still going to work toward a city that doesn't need Batman.
Me too. Batman has remained in the spotlight because of this controversy and identity crisis. Not only does it draw attention to the character and stories, but it outlines and reinstitutes the morals and concepts of Batman. In this situation, all press is good press, and while it could be argued that it is the writers or other creatives that are solely responsible for keeping Batman relevant, it is truly the conflicts that rise as a side effect of the stories that attract fans and skeptics alike. Hey, I hope you enjoyed the video. I made it for a college project a little over a month ago and finally got around to posting it here. If you like this kind of video essay, you should check out channels that I drew inspiration from, such as Nerdwriter, Now You See It, and Behind the Screenplay. They make great stuff that made me appreciate what creatives do more and more. Thanks for watching.